the whole show on Monday or Tuesday, and it was about conditioning, and about pretty much we all know the story of Pavlov's dog,
right,
with the food, and we all know that story, I believe. Now the show was I don't know why, but it was more about did we live a past life. But anyway, what the show was about was conditioning mice. Now what they did was, I have to study how many mice. What they would do was shock the mice every time it would go up to a scent. I believe it was a flower, let's just call it a rose. Every time the mice would go over to the flower, smell it, it would get shocked. And they did this for weeks and months at a time. Eventually to the point where, kind of like Pavlov's dog, the mice would go to the flower, smell, but immediately run away. No more shocking. So that's pretty much normal. We all understand that. But this test went further. Now the parents, now they would pass on, the baby mice would be growing up, and these mice would not have to be shocked. They knew not to go to that flower.
These were the offspring, correct?
Offspring, right. The baby's offspring. Now, they would go to the rose, smell it, and they ran away immediately. Now, why? And that study went further. Those offspring that those mice have to pass on, they did the same thing, did not need the shock. Now, how did they know to do that? Run away from that flower. They weren't, that goes to, they were talking about the DNA, that's fascinating, though. That can go to racism, too. How do we know, or how did I know growing up that, wait a minute, oh no, I can't marry a black person, I can't, where does that come from? How did I know that's a bad thing? I can't date a Spanish person, I can't date a Jewish person, I can't date a black person. How was I told that? Or how do I know that?
That's a very good question, and it's not that you can't, it's just public opinion. And that's what it is. It's really public opinion. I remember, Ellen and I and the kids went to North Carolina many years ago to visit her father and his wife. And we happened to stop in at a flea market. And North Carolina, these guys were good old boys, okay? And there was Nazi paraphernalia being exhibited, white power and everything. And there happened to be a couple, a black man and a white woman. And, one of the people who had a stand happened to say, pass a remark to us and say, how do you like that? Did you see that white woman and that black man, only that's not exactly how he said it, okay? And our answer was, well, we didn't tell him we're Jewish, first of all. But, we said, we're from New York, and things like that don't surprise us at all. It's nothing to be surprised at, But, I see more and more. Now, my parents never said anything to me about, who I should marry. I mean, I think did
you grow up? But Mark, now, did you grow up in a house like? I mean, old parents say this. They'll do this. Now, like you said, when you grew up, I'm sure your parents did not tell you, all right, Mark, you cannot bring home whatever race, black or whatever, Chinese. You can't bring this home. Did they actually tell you that? Now. Or,
no.
I know when I'm older, I know my parents weren't going to be okay with that. Did they actually tell me that ever? No. But
well, knowing parents, a little bit, when you ask your parents later on in life, when you're older, Mom, would you be okay if I brought home a black girl or a Chinese girl? And they say, oh, no, as long as you're happy. Now, do I believe that? No. I don't believe that at all. Well, I don't know. And knowing your dad, from meeting him the one time and talking to him on the phone, I would say he genuinely believes that, that he wasn't making that up at all. That if you were happy, that's all that mattered to them. Although, again, I have a story for you. Growing up, my wife had a friend, or actually her parents had a friend,
who constantly was drilling into her son, you have to marry a Jewish girl, you have to marry a Jewish girl. He went off to Israel when he graduated college, came back with a Jewish wife. She was an Ethiopian. Okay? Black as the ace of spades. His mother literally disowned him and sat Shiva for him. You know, it's like when you're mourning the death of a child or a loved one or a husband. You know, I mean, and, you know, he asked his rabbi, and the rabbi said the important thing is the religion. You know, she's Jewish. It doesn't make a difference what color her skin was. But this woman kept telling her son he has to marry a Jewish girl, so he married an Ethiopian Jew. What can I tell you? But what I was starting to say before you started to talk about all this was I see in the younger generation, the generation of my children, that there is more and more not just interfaith marrying, but interracial marrying, okay? Race means absolutely nothing to them, to the kids, as long as, and let's face it, as long as they're happy. You know, you can't dictate what's going to make a person happy. You know, the old standard of Jews marrying Jews, Catholics marrying Catholics. You know, the big problem that I see now is if you have a Jew marrying somebody who's a Muslim. You know, because
that's a big
problem.
I know people who.
But it's a big problem.
That's a big one.
First of all, you know, if the man, let's say the man is Muslim, if he was brought up and his faith means so much, they would practically demand that the woman convert to Islam, which in many cases they do. Okay, just for, you know, peace within the family.
Yeah. Mark, that would go with any religion. If you're a Hasidic Jew and you married you can't even marry a Jew of your own.
You couldn't. If you're a Hasidic Jew, you have to marry a Hasidic Jew.
So what's the difference? The same thing. As a Jew marrying a Muslim. There's no difference.
Well, I have a nephew.
If you're a Muslim and you're going to marry a Jew, you're going to both have to compromise.
Well, it depends.
Otherwise, you wouldn't do it.
It depends what kind of upbringing both people have had. But, all right, if you're brought up in a family in a family where religion wasn't that important to you, okay, and you're marrying somebody where religion was important to them, you may find one person converting to the other religion, as I said, just for peace within the family, okay? My father's cousin, married an Italian girl. Now, this goes back, about 60 years ago. Okay? But she converted to Judaism just to have the children be brought up with one religion. Also because, you know, any children that they would have, you know, in the Jewish religion, you are the religion of your mother. So the children would have been Catholic. Okay? But she converted to Judaism so that the children would be brought up Jewish. But she said in her heart, she was born and raised Catholic and she'll die Catholic. And she did. You know, now I don't know what happened along the way, whether, you know, what kind of a funeral she had. I mean, I lost touch with him, you know, many, many years ago. And as I said, this was my father's second cousin. So he would be like a second cousin once removed to me. So the bottom line is, you know, I could pass him in the street and not know him, you know. But this is what people believed back in the day.
But listen, an extremist in any religion is not going to marry somebody outside the religion.
You're right. And I was going to say my nephew became ultra orthodox, and he married. His marriage was arranged. They call it. He went through a matchmaker. Okay.
Matchmaker.
He went to Ithaca, majoring in music composition, and he married a girl from California who went to NYU, who also, like him, went off to Israel and came back and became ultra-religious. And what seems strange to us is, they would go on chaperone dates. He wasn't allowed to hold her hand. He wasn't allowed to touch her. They got married. You got another call.
Well, wait a second.
They got married 3 months later, as is the custom, and...
Okay, hello.
But I have to take a break for a second, so I'm gonna take this off.
I'll let you guys go.
I will be back.
Okay, we got another caller online. Hello?
Hey, can you hear me? I'm driving right now, guys.
Oh, is that Elisa?
And I'm listening to the show. And what you were just saying about the religious Jews and marriage, it's funny you're saying that because this Sunday I'm going to my Hasidic cousin's wedding, who in fact is marrying a Sephardic guy.
Really? Well, he can't be that religious then. She can't.
They're very religious. I don't even know how she's even marrying this guy. And from what I understand, he comes from a very wealthy family. The wedding is costing my cousin a fortune. But I think today the young Hasidics are totally different now. It's really changed up a lot. They're more modern. And I can't wait to go to this wedding to see how these girls dress. I mean, some of these girls wear dresses above the knee now.
Really? Interesting. All right. What do you think of that, Mark? Oh, where Mark is not wearing his headset.
I have to do this.
Oh, he's not wearing his headset. Yeah. All right. Well, Ann, you still there?
I'm here.
Hi, Ann. We've got Elisa on.
Hi.
Okay, she was just telling us about a marriage of some Jewish families, and my feeling is, is what I said before. If you're that religious, you're not going to do it. So you've got to be compromising a little bit, and that's the way the world's going to end. We got to start compromising. We can't just all stay within our religions and within our own little sects, because if nothing else, we're all going to be very deformed because of all the intermarriages. As a matter of fact, they were saying that was happening. A lot of some of the Muslims who are trying to keep within their religion, there's been a lot of deformities in the babies because they're doing they're marrying within a very close family line. But anyway, now Ann, you're Catholic, right? But you have no kids.
Yeah. No kids.
Oh, how would you feel if your German Shepherd would want to marry a Schnauzer?
I don't care.
Okay.
Here's the way I look at it, okay? We're all human beings. We're all put on this earth. I don't care what race, religion, creed, color of skin. It doesn't matter to me. If you get along with people and you find someone that you love and that person loves you back, what does it matter? And I think that part of the reason why we're in the turmoil that we're in, especially in